Welcome to Brand That Matters, a show we dive deep into the art and science of branding. My name is Eliza Isham, and alongside with me is our founder of Entrepreneur Insight and also Armani Media, Datuk KK Chua. And we are here to guide you through the ever-evolving world of brand strategy, identity, and storytelling. How are you, Datuk?
I'm good.
How are you feeling about today's guest?
Wow, today I'm very excited. Today's guest is really someone special, and I met him in 2016.
Wow,
Back
long
then,
time
I
ago.
think he was the president for EO Malaysia. You know EO, right? Entrepreneur Organization Malaysia. And I know him as a person that has a big heart, that really wants to make a difference to our society, especially to our entrepreneurs community. So I'm sure today his insights, his experience will definitely benefit our viewers.
Yes, of course, as young entrepreneurs, we want to know what are the story and what made him he is right now. So today we have a very special guest at Brand That Matters, someone who has truly made waves in the world of branding. Joining us is Mr. George Ang, and also known as Malaysian very first franchise kingpin.
Wow.
And we're gonna dive deep into this one because his ambitious investment with A&W. Hello George, how are you?
Hi, Elle.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having me.
Thanks for having you coming here. It was our pleasure,
Our
right?
pleasure. It's our
Yeah.
honor, George.
So,
Thanks, Datuk, for having me.
so how was it? How's the year going on with you? We are reaching like third quarter of the year. How was it?
Well, it's always interesting. Every year is interesting. I think the last 5 years, Malaysia have been swinging
and
up and down, and then just this week, you know, you have the massive stock market route.
Yes.
Yeah, so
But
never.
it rebounded.
Yeah, never a dull day in an entrepreneur's life.
Yeah, true. Entrepreneur is all about ups and downs and when to come back. Okay, a little bit about our Mr. George here. A little bit of his behind story. Working first at OCBC Bank and then BNP Paribas in Singapore. At 27, he left the rat race and also co-founded Revenue Valley Sdn Bhd with two partners. Brings the franchise for a New Zealand fish and chips eatery, The Fish Shop. Am I correct? Alright, kita sambung lagi dengan he was a co-founder of the Manhattan Fish Market, inspired by one of the two biggest fish market in the world. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Alright, and one more thing truly fun about him, he developed also a homegrown brand such as NY Stick Shack and obtained the franchising for American casual dining chain restaurant Tony Roma's as well as Popeye Louisiana Kitchen in Singapore. And his latest venture was the Papa Beard, yes, the cream puff that we all love it.
Beard Papa.
Beard Papa, I'm so sorry, it's Beard Papa. Okay, so our first question, of course, we all know about the story that you told about 16 years old kid boy who wanted to make part-time pizza delivery, right? So we want to know, like, who was George Ang at that moment? Like, who was he? What is he thinking at the moment? Like, how does this all start? He laughs, so it's a very
started
interesting story.
Work at such a young age. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a part-time job at 16, 17 to even when I was studying in Australia, I always had a part-time job.
Okay.
And I think maybe because of that, you always had a boss and you were just a waiter. You had a big boss who scold you, who
Scold you?
give you feedback. Who, of course, you have nice bosses, but mostly boss when you're at the low level of being a waiter, mostly your boss are going to treat you not so nice in a way, not so positive. So I always thought, yeah, one day I must be the boss. One day I must run my own company and be nice to my people. So I think that was one of the why I became an entrepreneur, and also why I always think that in business, especially in our consumer business, the most important is to treat your people right.
Treat your people
I
right.
think what we all really want to dive in is, after 16 years old, deliver pizza, how you acquire not necessarily the capital, how you acquire the tenacity and the guts to actually start on your own.
So I was lucky enough to work in a bank, and the bank, in fact, in 1998, when we had a financial crisis. Al, you were not born yet, huh?
Yeah, I'm not born yet. I'm so sorry, guys. But I would love to hear
we
that.
had one of the worst crises in Asia called the Asian financial crisis. And at that time, our
1997.
Prime Minister Anwar, at that time he was a deputy prime minister, he was sacked as the DPM, and the Malaysia currency went from 250 to 480, right? So that was one of the worst crises. But funny enough, I was working in a bank, BNP Paribas in Malaysia. And because there's so many bad loans that happen in Singapore, they sort of promoted me and sent me to Singapore as a restructuring specialist to restructure the loan. So I actually got a pay rise, I got expat pay, I got, you know, so from there I saved some money. But again, you know, I in my experience, I always have good but mostly not so good bosses, or bosses that cannot control their behavior and temper. So I always say, oh no, I'm not going to work for people for the rest of my life. I want to be the leader that people can respect, and be a nice enough entrepreneur that treat his people well. Yeah. So that is the inspiration and tenacity. Well, I was working in Singapore, so I was getting a good pay, so I saved some. Actually, I saved about
A lot.
about 100,000 ringgit at that
That's a
time.
lot.
And then I started my first restaurant. 100,000 won't bring you your first restaurant, but I managed, because I was a banker, I managed to convince Maybank to give me a loan of 400,000. So that's how I started my first 2 restaurants.
The fish shop, is it?
The fish shop, correct? Yeah.
Back then the exchange rate was, I think, 220, 250.
The Sing exchange rate was at that time 2 to 1.
2 to 1. Okay.
So I just popped some question, even though I was not born yet in that era. I just like, where do you get that emotion, that braveness to go and do that? Because like you said, the market is quite crashing down. Like, what makes you really think that you can excel that one?
I think when you are young, you are quite
vicious like that.
quite idiot. You don't know what you're getting into. You go in bank war. But I think one at the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, if I fail at the age of 28, I still got energy to get up, and worst come to worst, go back to the bank and work or something, right?
Yeah, true,
but I must
true.
try. But now if you tell me to do it again, I don't think I'll try. No more energy to get up and run.
I see.
But
Okay.
but one thing I found out about George is, throughout the years, you have not deviated yourself from this F&B industry. So I think this is one of the success factors why you can build this your F&B empire into the size of it right now. Because the focus of it, you really, like, you know, 1 meter wide and 100 meters deep. So what because I'm sure with your position right now, a lot of new opportunity, exciting opportunity, investment opportunity comes to you. But why did you not steer away from F&B industry?
I think you're right. I rather be very good in one thing than be a generalist in a lot of things. So yeah, we have had people ask us to open other kind of retail store, get into property business, buy a factory, buy some land, and invest in some, you know, assets. But I stuck to what I know best lah. I mean, even if I have to fail, at least people say that this
Bad
fellow
move,
was
that's all.
totally focused on one thing.
True.
Yeah.
Super focus, laser sharp focus.
Yeah, betul. So I think right now the young entrepreneurs, so they don't really know what they're doing, so they're just like trying to divert everything. At some point they just flap out because they don't really know what they're doing, right? So that is lesson number 1. Entrepreneurs, be the best at you did. Alright. So
But Josh, the other question of course will be on how has this year been to A&W?
Yeah.
We know now A&W was listed under the arms of Pan Malaysia Corporation Berhad, and remember the last conversation we had during the MCO period, you were telling me you know, if MCO was still enforced and you know, restrict orders and all that, the A&W operation might not survive for the next 2 to 3 months. Basically the cash flow issue lah. So now look at how far A&W has gone. You survive, and not only that, striving. Now A&W has about close to 100 outlets.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, close to
About 100
100
outlets. So how you reinvent yourself, and you know, how has this year been, and how you reinvent yourself to achieve where you are.
Never a dull day, like I say, in F&B business. You know, the day we bought over from KUB, A&W in 2018 September. 1 year later, MCO came in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Perfect
never. This is like the blackest of the black swan kind of thing that happened. Never ever have we been forced to stay at home for so long, right? Yeah. So after that, we have to actually change tack. And just imagine now, when I bought over A&W, number one, in A&W there was no cashless transaction. Everything is by cash.
Yeah.
They were so old-fashioned, or they were
Credit
so
card,
traditional. Yeah.
E-wallet.
They did not even
No, they
have credit
cash.
card.
Yeah.
Number two, they did not have delivery. Zero delivery. They didn't believe in delivery. So when I came in the first year, thank God I implemented some cashless, e-wallet, credit card, and then the second thing we implemented was to start delivery service. And when MCO hit, of course, it was all delivery. I think 70% of the business was delivery. The rest was just takeaway. Nobody can dine in, right? Yeah. And then after the MCO, then you have a lot of things that happen, like shipments cannot come in on time.
Yeah.
Even our French fries usually take 3 months to come in. The ship cannot sail off. It takes 6 months. So we had to pivot and very quickly move to look at how we do the menu, right? So it's never
It's
dull day,
never
lah.
a
It's
dull
always a
day,
challenge. This year, I think for the first time, I would say things are stabilizing. We have a government that is, at least I would say, a bit more permanent in place, policy in place, less change of policy. The best thing that happened this year so far for me is the currency rate is stronger. Because if the currency keep going up, just imagine our import content, our import content like French fries, root beer, syrup, and all that keep going up, right? Yeah, so we cannot manage, and we cannot pass on price to the consumer every other month when price changes at the raw material level.
But how did you do it last year? Because last year our ringgit is all time
Yeah,
low.
so we actually, to be very frank, last year the margin shrank a lot for us because we have to be careful. And not only that, if the other fast food boys are suffering, they are doing a lot of promotion and all that. So how can you increase price? You increase price, your customers will run away, right? It was a challenging. I must say, the last quarter of last year until the first quarter of this year was very challenging for the fast food market because of the inflation rate, because of the currency, and also because of the war.
Yes,
in Russia, in Ukraine, and in Israel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So I was going to go there because for me personally, I'm above 40, and for A&W, the first thing I think of is the frosted mug root beer, but of course now the change to what, RB, is it?
RB.
Okay.
Yeah, because
And
you cannot use the word.
yeah. So the other thing
People
here is
sell beer in fast food.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes.
beer that is out. Okay.
So my question here is, can you all still sell on nostalgia? Because when we go in, you know, the retro ID fittings, the American kind of dining experience. So but most of your I don't know, because most of your customer base, I assume, will be younger generation. So how would that will that ever change the way you try to
Yeah, you're right,
position?
Dato. I think a lot of people, when I first say I was interested to buy over A&W, they say, hey, that's a very old brand, huh? Is it still relevant? Right? A lot of people ask me. And if at that time when I asked my boy, do you know A&W? You only eat in the other one, you know, the one with the clown and the one with the old man.
Yeah.
That's the two fast
That
food
was the hype one, yeah,
the young
true,
Malaysians
true.
know. But most people, the older people, they know, yes, I dated in A&W, in your PJDI outlet. But it's for them it's quite obviously a bit more relevant is the other brands. So over the years we have tried to modernize actually our look. So we started with A&W 2.0, then A&W 3.0. So if you go to our A&W 3.0, we call it, in one of the latest one in Sierra 16, you'll see that it is a more modern finish, digital. You order from the self-order kiosk. You can even use your app to order. there's a place for you to go to sit with one person, just two person, or there's even a place to sit alone with a plug in your computer, right? So these are the things we modernize, and then there's also a place that you can have group meetings. Yeah. So today is a very different world from when we were growing up fast food. In those days, I remember if I go to McDonald's, I can't even move the chair. The chair is stuck to the floor, right?
True.
Right? They want you to eat, finish,
Eat
go,
there and
right?
just stuck
But today,
there.
you really want to make fast food even like the other place you hang out in, right? Yeah. So that's the difference. So we are modernizing a lot of our restaurants. Now, you are probably gonna talk about the PJDI. Why is it still so old? You never renovate. The reason we never renovate is during MCO. No, not legacy, but during MCO, we were supposed to shut down that restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah, the landlord was going to take back that restaurant to build their hotel. Yeah, but because of MCO, which is in a way good for us, that outlet remained because the developer decided not to renovate it so soon. So now he has sort of lengthened the lease, but we are still month on month. That means he told me, George, anytime I want to build my hotel, I'll give you 2 months notice, then you have to vacate. So we don't have a long-term lease on that. Without a long-term lease, we cannot renovate.
Yeah, true.
But that particular
But
outlet,
that particular outlet is nostalgia, and
Actually, I do.
until today is still very good crowd.
Yeah, I do personally visit the PJ outlet. Actually, it was very cozy, just like the old days. The root beer thing was still the root beer machine whatsoever.
The
It
old
was
machine.
very nice. Yeah, the old version. And we just hope to be the best for the company, whatever it is, right? Okay, so I was like thinking, like you said, George, right now, that just now, you feel like there's a lot of people coming up to you and say it was a risk, it's a kind of high risk, taking over A&W because it was old brands. What makes you feel that you wanted this business, you wanted to go through this A&W thing and bring out the nostalgia that you were trying to spread out there?
I think when we bought over the business from KUB, a few things we realized was the brand is very strong, the awareness is there.
Yeah, true.
Most people know A&W. They may not have gone inside an A&W for a long time, but they actually know the brand and they actually know some of the products. For example, people always say, "Oh, how's your coney dog? How's your waffle?
Waffles.
Hey, I really want to drink the
teddy bear.
root beer, the RB, right? Yeah, and the big roti, the bear.
Yeah,
is he still around? When I bought it over, people keep saying, "Hey, where is the? Tuesday is supposed to be half price coney. Where is it?"
It's the memories.
So people actually remember. So I
Yeah.
thought, hey, the brand equity is quite strong. And then we have some pretty good product. We are the only fast food in Malaysia that actually have a very good hot dog coney or coney product, right? And we are also the only fast food that actually manufacture our own beverage in-house.
In-house.
Most of the fast food here either use Pepsi or Coca-Cola. We are the only one that do our own RB in-house every day. Right, so that was the uniqueness of A&W that I thought if we operate it better, if we run it well, if we open nicer restaurants, I think the brand can liven up again.
Yes.
Yeah. But we can say that you just stick to the old traditional way, but in a modern way,
Yes.
like innovation, the the surrounding
Correct,
whatsoever. Wow, that's a good one, because I think most of the time orang Melayu, which is youngsters, they love to live in the nostalgia, where the parents can come in and say, "Oh, dulu I berdating dengan your mom dekat sini," sometimes coming up like that, right? Okay.
But talking about the trend now, have you noticed any trend in F&B that you apply in A&W that eventually drives sales?
I think the big trend is digitalization, and I think in a way we are forced to do it because it's also very hard to get staff. And in fast food, our country's policy is in fast food, you cannot hire foreign worker.
Oh, cannot hire at
you
all.
cannot hire foreign worker.
Or there isn't
Yes,
any
for
ratio
fast food.
for fast food.
Okay.
Yeah, so to get local workers is not easy. Not everyone wants to work in fast food. It's not like
Especially the youngsters.
it's not like
Yeah.
our time, when I got a
Long
job,
hour.
I was very happy to work in Pizza Hut. I was ecstatic when people give me a $1 or $2 tips.
Yeah.
But today the youngsters are not.
Especially it rains, right?
yeah. Today is a different world.
Yeah, it's a very
So even if they work in a fast food, it's a transitional job for them, right? So we had to look at ways how to have lesser people working in the restaurant and still as productive and service still as good. So one of the thing is today you can order your A&W from an app. You just go into our app, you make an order, you say you want to collect at whichever time, 1 o'clock, and then you reach there, you can get your food. And also today we put self-order kiosks in
Just like the
our
other.
outlets, so you can just order. You don't have to face
Yeah.
the worker.
The other thing is drive-through still the emphasis for new outlets opening for A&W, and also the other thing is the strength of the sales. Does it come from geographically, like for example tourist spots, or is it demographically centric? So do you have any insights that you can share with us?
Excellent question. Oh, you want to open your own fast food? Yeah.
This is something that
Guess where is our number 1 store in Malaysia?
the airport.
Yeah.
Is
No,
it at the
no, no. We have one in airport, but it's not the number 1 store in Malaysia.
Oh, tourist spot.
You guess. Give it a guess. I give you 3 guess. If you guess correct, I'll give you a month's supply of a free coney dog. Free coney dog.
This is a good one. Okay, let
3 guesses.
3 guesses,
Okay, go ahead.
I think the oldest building also, the PJ one.
The one in PJ.
The one in
That's
PJ.
the usual suspect.
Yeah, that's the usual suspect. I will go that for the first one.
Salah.
Salah. Oh shit.
Give you 2 more.
2
Two
more.
more. Dato', help me out.
Airport dah tak ada
Airport dah tak
so you're
ada.
safe, don't use that.
Okay. So I think
Tourist spot I think tourist spot. But I don't know which tourist spot.
Is it in Selangor or we going?
I'm not gonna
to
give you
along
any
around?
I'm giving
Okay.
away a lot of coney.
Okay.
1 month, you
One
know.
month. Okay, 1 month supply. Okay, I think it is is it in the KL? Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman? Is it that one?
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
Last guess.
shit. Last guess.
Okay lah, I tell you, it's outside of Klang Valley.
Outside of Klang Valley.
That's
Dato', help me out.
That's the best clue I gave you.
That's the best.
Melaka lah. Go for Melaka punya outlet lah, tapi
Melaka
mana tak tahu.
outlet.
Melaka Zoo.
Melaka. Itu
I don't know
Dato'
whether they
punya
have
guess
it.
kan? Itu Dato' punya guess kan? Bukan I terbelum lagi. Okay, I think it's let's go for Sabah Sarawak one.
Salah.
Salah. Oh, Sabah Sarawak also.
Our number 1 sales this year by far is in Pantai Batu Buruk, Terengganu.
Oh yo, my hometown.
Oh my god,
My hometown,
Dato'.
my
Tak
hometown. I used to go
pun.
there.
So we refurbished that. That was a very old outlet, and it's
By the beach.
It's not a drive-through, but it's a standalone. It's like a big bungalow standalone. And when we refurbished, the sales shot up by double. Yeah, it's a very old store.
How can I miss
How
that?
can we
Yo,
miss that?
memalukan lah, memalukan.
Marah my dad tengok ni dia from Terengganu.
So you are saying what type of store that we are looking at for expansion? You're right. Maybe more on standalone or drive-through, or both. So for example, like Pantai Batu Buruk is what we call a standalone shop, and because of that, we can open 24 hours. So it's a 24-hour shop, right? So of course, 24 hours you get more sales.
Yeah.
We can open breakfast until supper until even midnight, right? So we have been very conservative in opening in malls. We are not saying that we don't open in malls, but we will be very choosy when it comes to mall, because mall operation hours is 10 to 10.
Yeah.
And if you don't get a ground floor on the mall, you get a 3rd floor, you can't even do delivery. So today delivery is a big sales for us. It's almost 20% of sales.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's a big
So for the fast food business or for the eatery business, very important is how long can you operate? How many day parts can you have from breakfast to supper, to tea time to lunch to dinner, right? Yeah, and what kind of other channels can you have? Delivery, right? Delivery
or
versus pick up or
dine
take away.
in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the best ROI shops like Pantai Batu Buruk, Seremban drive-through, the one next to the lake.
Seremban
That is also a very high volume outlet. Yeah.
Okay.
Which means it has to come with a view.
Yeah.
It has to be
Comfortable for people to see.
Yes.
It's funny, if it's the Seremban drive-through outlet is so old and so historical. One weekend I go there, people are actually taking wedding photos, going to A&W to take wedding photos.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
That means it's such an iconic
Yeah,
place
true.
in Seremban.
Yeah, the A&W and the bride and the married went long lasting?
I don't know, maybe they met there lah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, I got one question. Like the original A&W RB recipe came out, like is the only significant of the brand identities. So when you take over, do you feel like you want to have something maybe newer than the other brand, you know, carry
Expanding
the
the menu
new
lah.
nostalgic for the Gen Z one, so that they would stick to the brand?
We have actually explored a few new items. We had you know, so every year we have what we call LTO. LTO is limited time offer.
Oh.
Okay, limited.
So I'm going to tell you a secret. This week we are actually launching a new LTO, creamy mushroom burger, on Thursday. Yeah. So
On Thursday,
you are
okay,
You are
Thursday.
the first one to know.
Okay.
So that's
Can I
one of
have
our new
Grab
products.
it while stock lasts.
Okay, I'll send one to you. Yeah, but
Thursday.
over the years, after we took over, we have had a few new products that we now put in the menu. One of it is the hot wings. We have Korean hot wings inside, and then we also have came out with new drinks like orange juice. A lot of times the parents bring their family. The kids love root beer, but the parents say, "Hey, I cannot drink sweet, right?" So they say, "Do you have a healthier drink?" So we finally came out with orange juice, real orange juice.
Oh, the real orange juice.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
So that is some of the many innovation we have had in the last few years. Yeah. But we are always trying to improve the menu.
So for this LTO, how often it comes by? Every month, every quarter?
Every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
About every 2 months we have one. So the LTO will run about 6 to 7 weeks, and if people really like it, maybe it'll be in next year's permanent menu.
Any of the LTO
Okay.
that is already in your permanent
Yeah,
menu?
like the spicy wings that I told you, it was an LTO for a long time, and then people like it, so we put it into the menu.
I see. So there's a lot of changing actually that people don't really know.
Yeah. We
They
even
just-
had I think there was a LTO chendol waffle.
Chendol
that we had,
waffle.
yeah.
Please
Yeah.
send me that one too.
So we put gula melaka chendol on the waffle, and the other product that we innovated was during MCO. You know, a lot of people was requesting for the waffle.
Waffles.
But waffle you cannot
Yeah,
eat
it has
dine
to be
in,
hot.
right? You cannot eat dine in because during MCO you can't dine in. So what did we do? We do the waffle to go. We put it in a cup. We cut the waffle. We put it in the cup. Then we put the juices, and then you can take and go.
Yeah, true also.
Yeah. So until today, we still have that in the menu.
Yeah.
Oh, juices to go meaning?
No,
We
the
have-
waffle to go.
Waffle.
Waffle to go.
Waffle to go.
So we put the waffle. We cut the waffle and we put into a sort of a cup, and then we put the syrup and caramel sauce. On.
Yeah, true.
But once it's cool off already, the taste, the crispiness, it become like.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It's
Yeah, it
still
was
it's a dessert, so you can still eat if it's slightly cold. Yeah, as long as the syrup is there.
But it's quite famous actually on Gen Z, because as long as we go, we want to go to a movie or whatsoever, we just go waffle on the go and let's say
I think
A&W.
Grab.
Yeah, you can just
Grab and
it.
Go
That's
is a
great
big business
innovation
now,
actually.
and
Yeah.
if you look at a lot of new concepts, Grab and Go, like one of the famous frozen yogurt brand, right? Very
Yes,
popular.
yes,
It's
yes.
just
Yeah.
Grab and Go, right?
Yeah, true.
So for A&W, will you intend to focus on this, what do you call it, express kiosk, is it?
Yeah, so we are looking at
Yeah.
that. We actually have a few express kiosks, but we are trying to look at the menu to make it easier for people to grab and go.
Besides wafers, what will be the other menus that will be in your express kiosk?
The conies.
Oh, conies,
so
yes,
you can
yes.
put it into a little thing
Yeah,
and bite,
it's on
and
the
maybe
go.
we'll innovate some wrap and go things like that.
Wow. Wrap and go sounds like a great idea.
So for A&W, I mean now you are about reaching 100 outlets, is it?
Yep.
Yep.
What would be the, let's say, in the next 3 years kind of horizon, what would be the expansion plan? Or what
I
would
think
be
the next 5 years we want to double the amount of store. We want to get it to 200. But more importantly, it's not just about the numbers. It's about getting the experience better. One of the things we always track is speed of service, right?
Speed
speed
of
of
service. Okay.
So when you order, within 3 minutes you must get your product, and every time you get your product is in good condition, warm, nice, hot.
Is it like hard to do all this transformation, because A&W used to be a very old school type of brand, then it just innovate through the years to Gen Z whatsoever. Is it that hard? Like how hard it is actually?
it's not hard. The SOP is all there. Actually, there's a standard SOP there. It's just getting our people trained better, hiring the right people. This business is still a lot about the people. Yeah, it's gonna be a long time before we have a restaurant without needing people, right? Soon you'll have car without drivers.
Without drivers.
But restaurant without people, I think it's still not in my lifetime.
Yeah, true.
Unlikely?
Unlikely in my lifetime, I think. I don't know. Maybe. I hope.
Because I just saw one video clips from this from China. The whole cafe.
Nobody required.
You just pay for it. Then even the coffee also made by robotic.
I mean, if you look at we have Subway brand as well, and one of the things we did the last 12 months was to have the kiosk. You just order from the vending machine. You get a Subway sandwich from a vending machine.
Oh, wow.
No manless. That means nobody there.
Wow.
Every 5 hours we just put
everything.
new sandwiches inside based on demand, right? So that is one of the innovation that we are looking at. I think in the near future, maybe when I retire, there'll be manless restaurant. But for now, I think A&W, we still need human beings. We still need people to stir the root beer.
Yeah, also we need that motion.
Yeah.
But I was like thinking, is it like a good way to operate a F&B company which is humanless? There is no interaction, just machines. What do you think of it? Good
question, Al. Fast food, I think is okay.
Okay,
I don't think people go to fast food hoping to get super fine dining kind of service, right? And I think the most important thing for people when they go to fast food is the quality of the product is consistent. Speed. I want it fast, and I want it now, right? Yeah. So that's the two. But if you go to fine dining, then it's different. Fine dining, you expect you want to be served course by course. You want to sit down for 2 hours. You want to have a nice date with your husband or wife, right? So it's a different experience that you pay for that human touch.
Yeah.
But I think you look at a lot of our restaurants today. We have self-order kiosks and we have the counter.
Yeah,
People actually prefer to go to the self-order kiosk, except for the older generation. They still want to talk to people because maybe they are retired. They go fast food. They want to have a conversation with our person. But I can tell you, the young people, all 25 below, they prefer to go to the and choose. And one of the things when we changed the restaurant from cashier to self-order kiosk, the average check goes up.
Oh, really?
One of the things we track is our average spending, right? Average check goes up. That means a person who goes to A&W, usually they spend $28. But when it comes to the machine, when they are ordering from the machine, it goes up to $32. Why? Now, we train our people to always upsell, right? We call it upsize or upsell some new product. So let's say you order a Moza burger, I'll upsize it. Sir, why don't you take a side and a bigger drink for $1.50 extra? But when there's a long crowd, our people don't stop upsizing or stop upselling because they want to get the crowd going, right? But when it comes to machine, just imagine I show a little drink, I show a big drink, I show a little French fries, I show a big French fries. Wow, this one, $1.50 you get so big more. They'll choose the upsize. The machine don't fail in upsizing.
Yes.
Human beings fail.
And especially when you're about to check out, they will always pop out. Okay.
Yeah.
Pay
Do you
this
want
extra
for extra $1.50 you get this? You want or not? Right. So the self-order kiosk, we call it SOK, helps in making the average check higher. A lot of times.
But back to maybe for George, maybe we want to know more about your leadership styles and how do you assemble a team that is, especially during the MCO time how do you actually encourage them? How do you basically assemble an awesome team that is has been with you for all this time?
I think engagement is the most important when it comes to, we have so many people in the head office. We have about 60, 70 people. And then we have another few thousand people in the restaurant. So engagement becomes more and more difficult, more and more complex. We just had, last week, I think we just had a town hall. And we have a town hall every quarter with all the restaurant general manager from the whole country, right? people say, wow, we spend hundreds and thousands of dollars every year to have this kind of meeting, bring everybody together, stay one night, hotel, but it's very important. I think the face-to-face, as much as we say we can Zoom call, we can do all the
Online
WhatsApp,
things, yeah.
but I think still the face-to-face interaction and the leadership meeting the people on the floor and see how you are, how was the reaction when you talk to customer about this new product, that face-to-face is still very important. So I would say engagement. And one of the things we did during Zoom was we had meeting every morning. Rather than have a weekly meeting, we had meeting every morning for half an hour.
Every morning.
Yeah, because people are working from home, right? We are not in the office together anymore. So we insisted that every morning, 9 o'clock, Zoom, half an hour. We talk, we update each other because nobody can see each other except on the Zoom. During MCO, you don't go to office, yeah. So that was one of the things that kept people engaged and alive again, like still working, rather than suddenly people fall off.
Just
you don't
go
even
out,
know.
blank whatever it is, right? It's like
so
sense of
engagement is one of the most important. Building a cohesive and engaged team is probably one of the most important thing in our business, our service business, right? Yeah.
It's more like a self-belonging kind of thing, make them feel together. That would make a very good investment.
The other thing
Alright.
I see in Josh is the way you turn around a company, an F&B outlet or F&B brands. You have proven yourself many times that you are able to turn around. If talking about turning around a company or a brand, what is the most vital factors that makes everything possible besides the human resource aspect of it?
I think different industry is different. I'll be honest that the F&B business is actually a very simple business. If you are asking me, like running Facebook or running Google is a different way of the technology is very fast. But F&B, fortunately or unfortunately, a very slow industry that very scared of change. So the biggest change in the last 2 decades is digital ordering and self-order kiosks, right? How do we turn around? So a lot of people ask me, hey, when you took over A&W, it was like almost a dead brand. How did you make it alive again, right? It's actually back to basics. Number one is hire a lot of restaurant. When we took over, there was no even manager, no proper people managing the restaurant. So hire, make sure staff up, and then train them well, right? So they are competent and you have the right people. Once they are competent and you have the right people, that is when you can implement things. So the first thing we implemented was talk to the credit card company, ask the banks come in, implement credit card, okay? And when they implement, they also give us a lot of money because we are we give them the monopoly of implementing the credit card. Number two was talk to the delivery people, the food aggregators, Grab Food. Hey, come lah, give us a good percentage and work on something. And then number three is a lot of times, very funny thing that happened in A&W was when I took over, some of the outlets were not using mugs anymore. Some of the outlets were
Frosted
using
mugs,
they were not using the frosted mug. In fact, they were not using even mugs, not even frosted. So two things happened. Number one, they were using a lot of the paper cups. And then number two, outlets that were using mugs, the mugs were not frozen. So I asked, number one, why the mugs were not frozen? They said, oh, the machine spoiled long ago, we never repair. So you actually keep these frozen mugs in a freezer, a special freezer to freeze these mugs. And it was not repaired. So one of the things we did was repair all this machine, make sure every time you serve in frozen mugs. Number two, why are we in certain outlets we are serving using the cups? They say, oh, in those outlets with the outside seating like the R&R outlets, we serve in paper cups because people always steal our frozen mugs. Which is
because
true lah.
It's
a good idea.
Also.
Have you seen one in your parents' place? A&W mug? Maybe, right?
I've
So a
seen
lot of
one
people
in
in the R&R, a lot of people outside, right? They are drinking with our frozen mug. Then suddenly they just put in their bag and go.
True.
So I said, hey, no, continue to use frozen mugs. If they want to steal lah. Just we'll lose a few every month. We have to replenish a few, but I think it's good for the branding lah.
True.
Right, so we allow that to happen. So a few of the things are just back to basics, right? These are basics. It was something that used to implement, but now don't implement, and the brand started to go down. Another thing was, instead of using frozen chicken, when I took over KUB, A&W was using frozen chicken. We said use fresh chicken. And now a lot of people said during the MCO, a lot of people said, wow, A&W chicken better than that old man chicken. Right? So this were the few things that we implement. Back to basics, get the brand up there again.
But you see, on the contrary, for F&B, F&B has the highest fatal rates. A lot of businesses, F&B businesses out there. This month you see them, 3 months or 6 months down the road, you will see another new shops coming up, and they have this joke, if you really want your friend to die fast, just ask them to
Open a restaurant.
Open a restaurant. So how true is that?
How true?
Maybe on
I don't have the stats on that, but I think partly it's true because I see a lot of young people say, hey, George, come and talk to me. I got a great idea for a cafe. Should I or should not I open? I say, okay, if you have a rich father who has 1 million to spare for you to try, then do it lah. But yeah, that would be the fastest trip. $1 million you'll lose.
So what would be the pitfalls that they can avoid because maybe they don't have the skills like what you all are having. What are the pitfalls that they can avoid?
I think it is one of the lowest barrier to entry. So 2 things attract people to restaurant. Number 1, it is low barrier to entry.
Yes.
Everybody who has a few $100,000 can open a restaurant. L may open a restaurant.
Entry,
Get inspired today and open a restaurant tomorrow. Yeah, that's
how it
one
works.
of the reason why people open restaurant, and it is so easy to open, and people think it's a glamorous thing to own a restaurant. A lot of kids come to me, wow, you own a restaurant, I also want to own a restaurant. You know, but behind the glamour is the hard work that they don't see, right? So I always tell them, okay, are you ready to work 7 days a week? Because restaurant never close down, A&W is open 365, and some outlets are open 24 hours, any time of the day. And I can tell you, a lot of times after 3 to 6 months, the young people who open restaurant, they get overwhelmed.
Yeah, true.
They say, wow, I thought it's very nice.
Yeah,
Dinner time, go to my restaurant, talk to a few customers. It's not like that lah. Actually, wait, have to wash plate lah. Wait, your worker go away. You have to come in and cook lah. Wait, nobody take your money, go and bank in lah. Wait, marketing I have to do myself lah.
First in, last out.
Nobody wash the plate, I have to come lah. Right? So a lot of things can happen one.
Tandas Rosa also
exactly. So it's a simple business. I told you in the beginning it was a simple business, but it is 500 simple things to complete every day, right? Even your bulb spoiler, your signage spoiler, everything comes to you. If you own one restaurant, that's the problem. You don't have anybody, right? You are the only one that people come to. So I'm lucky, I'm fortunate. We have a lot of restaurants today. So we have a marketing department, we have a supply chain department, we have a accounts department. But just imagine if you open one. Who is marketing department? You. Who is accounts department? You.
HR.
Who is, exactly.
HR.
You think you can hire a HR manager
manager.
on one restaurant?
The cleaner also.
Exactly.
That's
So that's so they don't look at it that way. So I would say to the young people who are keen to open restaurant or to start a restaurant, you have to think end to end. Get enough financing to say maybe open 10, open 12, I don't know. To scale so that you don't have to do everything yourself. If not, you have to do everything yourself, you'll die. You'll get tired, you'll soon give up.
That is 0 to 1 story. Okay, for you is 1 to 100. What are the new challenges that you face from 1 to 100?
Wow, good
100
question.
to 200.
I think 1 to 100 is then a lot of things come into play. You know, in the early days when I was trying to open the first restaurant, so hard to get location. You have to beg the malls to come and see you. You know, I want to knock on the Mid Valley to KLCC. You know, they don't even want to see you. But today, they call us, right? Because today we have a few brands that they want. But those days, I can tell you, being a young entrepreneur starting your first restaurant, nobody want to see you. They scared you cannot pay rent. Right?
Yeah.
Today I cannot pay rent, also they still want to see.
So the moral of the story is it's normal for people to look down at you, but you have to be stronger until to the point that they need you.
Correct. You have to build size lah, and you have to scale lah. I think in the F&B business I always think it's very hard to own a few restaurants, 2-3 restaurants. You have to build to scale so that you can at least hire people, right? If not, you're doing everything yourself. It's very difficult.
Yeah. Nowadays also kid Gen Z was very manja.
Yeah.
You know, cannot overwhelm a bit, they'll go stress and
Exactly.
whatever it is lah. Okay, I just wanted to ask like how like in my generation we do love entrepreneurship, we do a lot of business, whatever business we can sell, we do sell it. But how do we know that when to quit? You know, like maybe it's like the cafe is tumbling down whatsoever, but we are like still like I can do this until it's like end up, I don't know, maybe
Sometimes as business owner
Homeless
we have this
whatsoever.
problem, you know.
Yeah.
Because we are too engaged, we are too entangled with the operation. Sometimes to walk away from the failing business, it's like ayah sayang.
it hurts.
And to keep on continuing,
It hurts also.
yeah. So how
I think no man is an island. I face I face this obviously a lot of times. You may not realize it, but all the brands you talked to about just now are the brands that made it. A lot of brands I started are brands that didn't make it as well, that I did not mention at all. We had a Japanese restaurant called Sushi Groove, which we opened 2 and failed. We during Old Town Kopitiam days, we thought, hey, we can be better than Old Town Kopitiam. We ordered a Hainan, we opened a Hainan Kopitiam, which also failed, right?
Oh, wow.
So a lot of brands along the way we have done and failed. So when do we pull out, right? I think as the entrepreneur, we have to listen. I always have a close group of friends, fellow entrepreneurs, but not, maybe some are in the industry, some are not in the industry. And I would take their opinion, you know, give me true opinion of what you think. Is this a brand that can go far, or is this a brand that will not be sustainable, right? And we have to be open to listen. I think a lot of people, a lot of F&B entrepreneurs fail even deeper is because they don't want to listen. They don't want opinions. They think, oh, I'm God, I can do this, right? But no one is God lah.
So you are the type of business owners that are willing to cut loss.
We have to sometimes.
But
I've done it many times.
At what stage you tell yourself, okay, this is enough, let's call it a day?
Yeah, good question. So even restaurants, we actually closed some A&W restaurants when we came in, right? And how do we analyze, should we close or should we continue on? If we are at the break-even point or 10% below break-even point, it is it's an operations issue. That means we did not hire good people, the store did not operate well, and if we believe that we can run it and improve it to break-even level, we'll keep it open. But if it's a location problem, you know this location, you are 30% below break-even point. No matter what you do, every day call your uncle come and eat also cannot survive. Then you better close it down lah, right? If not, every month you're contributing, you're paying the rent for nothing, right? So I think you have to be very conscious about, is this my issue or is this an external factor that I cannot save, right? Sometimes you choose the location wrong, what to do, right? You might as well just cut loss.
Josh, I still remember the advice that you shared in one of the seminar about that 1% rule. So how do you implement that 1% rules in your everyday operation?
I always tell people, are you talking about the improvement,
Yes,
the 1% improvement? If we can,
Everyday
I mean,
1%.
if you can improve 1%, that means you read something, you learn something today. Just imagine at the end of the year, every day you improve 1%, how much better will you be? At the end of the year, you'll be 300% better, right? And I think that's how come some of the kids today are smarter than us.
Yes.
Because today you don't need Britannica encyclopedia to learn. You can Google. Like my boy,
ChatGPT.
Yes, they can even ask ChatGPT. And today the good thing is, unlike our education, we have to memorize things. Today, the kids don't have to memorize things. Everything is ChatGPT or Google, right? They can Google. So they also know that they don't have to waste their brain for memorizing. They use their brain for resourcefulness. So like my boy, 17 years old, he can discuss with me things that are quite deep, right? Because he every day Google, he knows more things about technology than me. He knows about EV more than me probably, right? So and we don't want to learn new things, right? Like ChatGPT also, it takes a while for us to try out.
Yeah,
That's
it's
very true.
more to
Yeah.
like open to new things actually. And I like the 1% rule. It's like 1% improvement every day. We should keep it to ourselves actually, everyone, right? Because Gen Z don't really think about it actually. We just feel like, okay, we just Google it or we just can chat GPT it. So we don't think that 1% is going to worth a lot to us. So thank you so much for that, Mr. George.
Thanks.
Alright, so next I'm going to talk about your book, Friday Footprints. So what is it about? And actually how does it come to your mind to produce a book like a Friday Footprints?
I started this many years ago, probably more than 14 years ago, when I started the restaurant business. And as we opened more and more store, you know, when we had 3 or 4 stores, it was very easy. Every week I would be at one of the store.
Every
You know,
week?
or every week I would visit all the store. When we had
Wow.
4 or 5 restaurants,
Oh, okay.
right? Today we have hundreds of restaurants.
So I was
Obviously,
like-
I can tell you there are some stores I have not even visited once. I have not seen it. Right? Today I just visited the first time one of our store in which we opened in section 15, SS15, Subang.
Subang.
So how do we?
A&W store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
A&W. So how do we engage our people when we have so many stores, right? They don't know who is the leadership, or the leadership continue to talk to them how. So I started this Friday Footprint, which I write every Friday and send out, those days send out to 10, 20 of my managers. Today I send out to all the restaurants. Yeah, so it's a note about my thoughts, about what I'm doing, about how the company is doing. Some simple updates is like writing your journal and then just sending out to your staff, so that at least they know some of the things
What's
I'm doing,
going on.
my thoughts, and how's the head office people. Yeah.
And
then
get them aligned.
align or just share thoughts or engage with them. And then during MCO, you know, I've been writing for so many years that we have a few thousand collections of these
Wow.
notes. And during MCO, one of the friend, Joshua, said, "Hey, let's compile
Compile
it
it.
together
Compile it
into a
together.
book." So they go and choose about 1,000 of that and compile it into a book for me.
But talking about books, what is the book that you are reading now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm reading a book by Patrick Lencioni. It's about about company teamwork. It's called The Advantage.
The Advantage.
Yeah, Patrick Lencioni. So I like to read non-fiction books about
I
about
think
business
this
and-
generation need to read a lot of books like that so that they don't really fall out from the business what you're doing, right?
So talking about books, of course, from books we find inspirations. But for you, who would be your role model or mentor in you that guide you in your personal life as well as business?
Well, I think I have a lot of mentors, even in Malaysia. I talk to different people like Dato' George Ting, who was the Domino's
Yes.
and KFC.
Why all the franchise has to be Josh? But one thing about Josh Ting is he managed to sell KFC,
Yeah, and
Ayamas, Domino's
Yeah.
during the
Wonderful.
pandemic,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. So is
Excellent.
that your strategy as well?
No, I have to learn from him lah. Yeah, if that can come true, it'll be good lah. Yeah, he's monumental.
Monumental
Yeah.
Like it's like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
timing.
Like for KFC it's 97, is it?
Yeah.
And for this Domino is right after this pandemic.
Yes.
Which is the which
you're
is
right.
the
Peak, right?
Peak
Yeah,
lah.
when they peak during the pandemic due to the delivery. Yeah,
yes,
you're right.
yes.
So
Yeah. I was like just going around through my mind. I was thinking like, how do you know to cut off something? You know, like the business that you said, right? The KFC part of sort of thing. How do you know that it's going to, or it's
I
going?
don't think you know. I don't
So,
think just like
how
like,
do you survive that as
just
a
like
leader?
people ask, when do you buy or sell a stock, right? Of course you want to buy low and sell high, right? But how do you know when it has peaked, right? How
Just
do you
don't
know?
get
Yeah.
too greedy lah.
Yeah, I think when
Okay,
you have
that's a
had
good one,
when
that's
you
a
have
good
had
one.
enough, I think then just sell and don't get too greedy. Enough when you have enough lah.
Yeah,
Right?
when you have enough.
Yeah, or when you're bored and you want to do something else, so cash out and do something else lah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
true. Because
So I'm not bored yet. When I'm bored, I let you know.
Maybe we can ask Josh one last question.
yeah, sure.
Which is what does it take for you to build a brand that matters?
I think people always have to look at the long term. How do you sustain a brand for a long term? So I'm very proud to have A&W because it's a 105-year-old brand. It was started in 19
was that long?
yeah 1919. 1919, so 105. Yeah. When I took over, the next year they celebrated 100th anniversary. Yeah, so it's 1919. So it's how do you make sure that a brand can last that long, right? A lot of brands actually, even after 20, 30, 40, 50 years, can still die. So you have to make sure that the brand can sustain so long. And a lot of it is a lot of it is basic principles, but a lot of it is also continue to update your brand, continue to look at what's the trend. If you look at, I'm not shy to give you an example about another brand, McDonald's. So like I told you, McDonald's started as a one product shop selling just hamburger those days at 19 cents. And then they eventually have fish burger, and fish burger became a top seller today in Malaysia. And then those days they had no seating. Today they have then they had fixed seating. Today you can see they have even McCafe, make people very comfortable and start selling high-end coffees and all that. So you have to innovate as you go. You have to continue to improve. You cannot stay stuck in a place. I think that's how you can make it sustainable, right? If not, look at one of the great examples I always like to quote to young people is Kodak. Kodak was the biggest film company in the world, but they did not believe in digital.
They are the one that
invented the digital camera, and yet they did not want to bring it to market, right?
Yes.
And because of that, today they are no more relevant.
Yeah. And also one of the brand, I think it's Nokia. Is it my
Exactly,
time? It's Nokia.
yeah,
The
exactly.
battery was very good, but they don't want to say into innovation. It's done like that. So one thing from George to say to our entrepreneur audience, advice to the new entrepreneurs outside, like how would they should run the business actually?
How they should?
How they should run a business actually?
How they should run a business.
There's many ways to run a business, but I think the more important is how I would say the more important is how you treat people. So be nice and kind on your way up, because you never know what will happen on your way down, or who you're gonna meet on your way down. So I do see a lot of young entrepreneurs who are, when they have their first hit, they make their first million or whatever, they change, right? But anything can happen in business, as you know. You can go up, you can go down. So I think be humble and nice on your way up.
So that's about it, everyone. Thank you so much to
Thank
George for sharing the whole branding thing. I believe it was a very insightful episode for this episode, Brand That Matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Josh.
Thanks
a lot so
It's
much.
an honor to have you.
Yes, true.
We learned a lot.
That was fun.
A lot of
And I'll
insights.
still get my book and my corridor, right?
No, you got the answer wrong.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, I will send.
Okay, and that's a wrap for today's episode of Brand That Matters. I hope you found our conversation with Mr. George Ang insightful and inspiring as we explored way of branding and how to elevate the business brand to be more stronger. And remember, whether you're building brand from the ground up or refining the established identity, is the passion, creativity, and connection that brings at the table that truly makes you a brand that stand out. So, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review to our podcast platform, and share your feedbacks to help us bring back more content valuable for you. And also, don't forget to follow us in Entrepreneur Insight for updates, behind the scenes content, and more branding. And thank you so much for joining us on Brand That Matters. My name is Aliza Isham, and alongside with me is Datuk KK Chua, and we can't wait to dive into more branding insight with you next time. Until then, keep building those unforgettable brands to be brand that matters. Thank you.